Congrats on deciding to compete in powerlifting. Now, the only thing you have to do is figure out which federation you're gonna compete in, which is easier said than done. I'm gonna try and distill some of the information from some of the top powerlifting federations so that you can make an informed decision about which powerlifting federation will be best for you to compete in now and for the long term. First things first, we're gonna start on the tested side of things because I feel like that may be a little bit of a broader audience here with me. So let's start at the top, which is the IPF. Back in the 80s, when powerlifting was really becoming its own thing, the IPF decided we are gonna be the paragon of integrity. They've done a great job doing that. We are going to be the tested federation, meaning we are gonna take drug testing seriously so that we can provide a competition floor that is equal to everyone who comes to compete. Whether or not they succeeded in being the paragon of integrity they wanted to be is neither here nor there. Maybe we'll cover that in another video. That was their goal. And with that, the tested side of powerlifting was born. And so if you are outside of the United States of America, the easiest thing to do is find your local or national IPF affiliate and join a competition through that federation. Pretty easy, especially if you have aspirations of competing on the world stage. Maybe you're a future world champion. If you are watching this video, congrats. I hope you do well. If you want to compete at the world stage, if you want to compete in a tested federation with strict rules, finding an IPF affiliate is the easiest way to go about it. Now, that used to also be the case in the United States, where I currently reside, but in the past couple of years, we've had a little bit of a kerfuffle on the tested side of things between a couple federations, and the landscape has shifted a little bit between the USAPL and Powerlifting America. Not gonna go into the details of why the USAPL split from the IPF. I don't really know. Only the people that know, that were in the room, know that. But it comes down to drug testing and drug testing standards. Something happened in which the USAPL and the IPF split. And so now we have a new IPF affiliate in the United States, Powerlifting America. The only thing I'll say on this is if you do have a main goal of competing in an IPF sanctioned world event, you may want to stick with Powerlifting America because there's this little thing called Article 14 in the IPF rulebook that states that if you compete in any sanctioned meet outside of the IPF, you will be banned from IPF competition for 12 months. This includes refereeing, this includes coaching, and this includes competing in anything outside of the IPF. So if you are dead set on wearing that USA singlet at the IPF Worlds, then you might as well just stick with Powerlifting America. Before we discuss the untested side of powerlifting, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? We put out new videos every Monday and Thursday trying to get you stronger. We'd love to have you be a part of the team. So those are the major players in the tested side of things. But what about the untested side of things? Because we know that powerlifting as a sport also has a robust, untested user base, basically. They have a lot of people that say, you know what, I want to get as strong as possible, and I don't care how I do it. I'm going to do my best, and I'm also going to get a little bit of help. Totally fine. We cast no judgment on those people on this channel. If that's the choice you want to make, hopefully you're making it healthily and you're getting as strong as possible. Hopefully you are not competing with the tested competitors, because that's straight up cheating and kind of a dick move. So if you have the desire to compete untested against other untested lifters, as you should, it's only fair, you need to know about the Global Powerlifting Committee and the International Powerlifting League. These are the two probably most established powerlifting federations across the globe in terms of providing untested competition. So again, just like with the IPF, you may just want to Google Global Powerlifting Committee affiliate in my area. That might be the easiest way for you to find a local competition that you can compete in. In the United States, the USPA and the WRPF seem to be leading the charge in creating a space for untested lifters to compete against each other. They do great stuff. They're creating great events. Both of them are growing pretty well. They also both have tested sides of their division. You may be asking yourself, why would I compete in an untested federation in a tested competition? Well, let's talk a little bit about weigh-in differences and equipment differences. It may seem like a no-brainer to compete in one of the tested federations that we talked about if you are a drug-free athlete. However, there are a couple differences that you need to be aware of that may change your mind. The main ones are the weigh-ins and the equipment that is used in each federation. First of all, let's talk about weigh-ins for a second. If you're competing in the Powerlifting America or the USAPL, you have a 2-hour weigh-in. That is used so that you cannot have a drastic weight cut and drop a whole weight class, recomp, and then compete at a higher weight in a lower weight class. This falls to personal preference. I usually compete with a 24-hour weigh-in, although in my last competition when I did a pretty drastic weight cut, I bombed out. So there's pros and cons to utilizing a 24-hour weigh-in. If you're a seasoned weight cutter, maybe you competed in wrestling or a combat sport and you know how to cut weight through a water cut and then a recomp, a 24-hour weigh-in could be very beneficial for you. If you're going for a world record in a specific weight class, this may be the route that you want to take. It's easier to manipulate your weight with a 24-hour weigh-in than it is with a 2-hour weigh-in. And federations like the USPA and the WRPF will allow you a 24-hour weigh-in period, even on the tested side of things. So that may be something that as a tested athlete, you want to utilize. It all comes down to personal preference. The other major difference is the difference in equipment that is used when you are competing. In the IPF affiliate and in the Powerlifting America competitions, you will be using a 29mm stiff power bar for all of your lifts, your squat, your bench, and your deadlift. This means that you will not get that same amount of flexion off the floor when you pull your deadlifts, and you'll have a thinner bar across your back when you're squatting. In the WRPF and the USPA, you will be able to use a specialized deadlift bar that gives you that flex, as you've seen probably on Instagram. I like to call them the noodle bars because they really do allow you to get a lot of slack out of the bar, maybe set your hips a little bit higher. There may be a mechanical advantage to using that type of bar. You also get to use a bigger and heavier squat bar. So usually there's the 25 kilo or the 30 kilo squat bar that's a little bit thicker, that may feel a little bit more secure across your back. These changes may be, again, down to personal preference. So if you've trained on the noodle bars and you go into an IPF affiliate competition, your deadlift may not feel the same. So you want to make sure that you are competing in the same style that you're training, using very similar or the same equipment. There's also the difference in having to walk your squats out of a rack and just being able to use a monolift, setting up and squatting as you stand. This, again, is another technical difference that you may be used to or not used to, and you have to seek out the federation that will allow you to compete the way that you train. Even in untested federations, the USPA still requires you to walk out your squats, which can be the difference in a couple kilos, because you may not be able to walk out the same amount of weight that you're able to just get under the bar, have the monolift lift up, squat, and then re-rack. Okay, I've thrown a lot of information at you. You may be more confused than when you started the video, so I'm gonna put it all together in a nice little cheat sheet for you. Follow along. If you want to compete drug tested with an eye on the world stage, the IPF and IPF affiliates are your go-to. If you want to compete drug tested in the United States with a more wide variety of meets, you may have better luck competing in the USAPL. It's a bigger grassroots federation, so you may have more opportunities to compete. If you want to compete in a tested competition, but you want more equipment flexibility and weigh-in flexibility, a federation like the USPA or the WRPF are going to be your best bet. And if you're competing untested, well, you better compete in an untested federation. You don't really have much of a choice. The main thing I want you to take away is that powerlifting meets are made mostly by the meet director. So although we've talked about all of the pros and cons of different powerlifting federations, it really comes down to the meet director, to the human being who is putting on the meet. My biggest advice for you is to join a powerlifting specific gym and talk to people who have competed in your area. They will know the ins and outs of competition. They will know if the meet director is looking out for the lifter or if they're just looking out for themselves. At the end of the day, most of us are not going to be competing on the world stage. So we need to look out for local meets that are going to do the best for us, that are going to provide us with the best opportunity to display the strength that we have worked for. So finding out which meet directors, which human beings in the space are doing the best for the lifters is going to be your best bet, regardless of federation. Thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me that you clicked on this video. Go ahead and like and subscribe. And if you're looking to follow my powerlifting journey, you can click on this video right here to get a firsthand look on my training for my upcoming competition. Thank you so much for watching. Get strong and stay strong.